suspect to go down a quiet upper-class street in South Martin County and commit two violent homicides. We are going to continue pursuing the blood work, hoping that it does reveal something. As I said this morning, the blood work that the hospital did tests for normal street drugs, if I can use that term, cocaine, marijuana, opioids. There was nothing present in his blood at that time. We continue to get questions here locally and actually from the national press is calling and asking, do we know if it was flaka? Nothing has really changed from what I said this morning. A flaka is not a drug that can be tested for at the hospital level, nor can bath salts or some other substances that could result in the excited deliriums that we saw last night. So we will continue waiting on that, and hopefully a big piece of this puzzle will be revealed. Our suspect's condition has deteriorated since this morning. He is in life-threatening condition, and whether he survives or not is not, whether he will ultimately survive is just not known at this time. We've had several questions on booking photos. Just to reiterate, he's in the hospital. I think he passed a picture from his driver's license, but we don't have any additional pictures of him. You also have asked about the 911 call that our neighbor, Good Samaritan, made. That will be available to you at the conclusion of this conference. The autopsy is just wrapping up. Held me up here the last few seconds. We spoke to our detective, our crime scene detective, who was at the autopsy, and the report is not written yet. They were just wrapping it up. Dr. Middleman summarizes by saying that the male victim, which is the only autopsy he's done so far, died of multiple serious stab wounds and blunt trauma. At some point, he may be able to tell us exactly which one did it. I think what we will find is that it was a compilation of all the wounds that resulted in enough loss of blood that the victim perished there on the scene. He had serious stab wounds to his head, neck, and chest. Once again, we have not done the autopsy. It's taken them all afternoon on the male victim. He has not done the autopsy on the female. We expect that tomorrow. So with that, I'll stop and see if there are any questions I haven't answered.
Do you have any more information about, there was a report, I think you said this earlier today, about he was at dinner with his parents at Duffy's and apparently became upset and then got up from the table. Did he leave? Can you guys just take us back through that whole evening with his parents, and do you know if he went directly to that neighborhood and wandered off? What do you know about that?
Yeah, your question was, we reported earlier that he was at a restaurant, probably a 15-minute walk from the victim's house, which was Duffy's on Indiantown Road. There was some unpleasantries at the table, not completely out of control. What we understand from the parents is that our suspect became upset about something going on with the service at the restaurant. I'm not exactly sure, but that he found foot. If you retrace that path, we're actually going to walk it ourselves, check for all possible video cameras. But I would say that's a 15-minute to a half an hour walk, which is just about right for the time frame. So we don't suspect that he was in a vehicle. We suspect that after the unpleasantries at the restaurant that he left on foot, walking north on the roadway there, on Island Way. Would have thought ostensibly to go to his dad's house. He was in the direction of his father, but stops one street short of his dad's house, so it's one street south, turns left, which is west, and has the fateful encounter with the two victims.
What do you mean unpleasantries? Can you explain that?
Your question is what I mean by unpleasantries. I think I would have to just about stop there because we're not sure. He was upset over something at the restaurant, and his being upset led to him getting up before the meal was served, or at least before the meal was complete, and leaving the restaurant on foot.
So it seems, though, Sheriff, that he was going in a direction where he was going to a familiar place, though. We didn't know before that his dad lived a block away. Right.
The question is, does it appear as if he was going in a familiar direction towards his dad's house? The answer to that is yes, he would. Had he continued one more street, if he had finished walking north on Island Way, would have gotten to his dad's street and been able to turn left and would have gone to his dad's house. But he stops 1 street south, inexplicably, we don't know, and we may never know, we may absolutely never know why our suspect stops 1 street south and then turns left and then walks west away from Island Way. I think 3 houses in, maybe 4 houses in, he encounters 2 victims who, as we said earlier, were seated on a couch enjoying the evening.
And as you said, so it's one street away, and he was walking, you said it was about 8:30, and then his parents called the police not to file missing persons, but just out of concern, right? That was...
Yes, my understanding is that after he left the restaurant, he was agitated enough that his parents called the Jupiter Police Department to report the occurrence, and that they wanted him at least located and notified to see if he was okay. Jupiter Police did take the report, checked the area, did not find him.
Sheriff, you said that the suspect is fighting for his life right now in a hospital. So are you saying that he has stab wounds indicating that the victims possibly were fighting for their lives before they ultimately passed away?
Yeah, if I could get your question right, you're recording me saying that he was in serious condition or fighting for his life, and did he have stab wounds? He has no stab wounds. It is possible that he's ingested something that is causing some kind of intestinal problem. We're just not sure. The hospital says that he's in grave condition and that he's not at all sick.
Go back again, Sheriff, with the fraternity brothers. So they were not with Austin and his parents at the restaurant, or were they?
Question was his friends, who we now know were longtime, lifetime friends, they were in a fraternity together at FSU, and your question was, were they together at the restaurant? And no, they weren't together. They became aware that our suspect had become agitated and had left on foot. They were concerned for him. They were looking for him. They actually drove up on our scene last night when they saw all the police cars, but because our suspect had given us a false name, the name of Moore, they heard that name and said, okay, well, it's not our friend. Well, in fact, it was.
So were they hanging out earlier in the day, and if so, are you now investigating the fraternity brothers?
No, sir. From my understanding, they didn't show up till after that when the family called me. I let them know that they were searching for him.
This is Sergeant Jacinda Cardet, and she is the lead supervisor on this case. The lead detective is actually at the hospital now.
I mean, how you've been in law enforcement for years, and we had a similar case back in Miami years ago. I mean, have you ever seen something like this? And just your overall reaction? I mean, you deal with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But